90 Day, The Last Resort Season 2 Tell-All. Julia Trubkina faces criticism from Brandon Gibbs' parents. As the highly anticipated tell-all episode of 90 Day, The Last Resort Season 2 approaches, tensions rise as Brandon Gibbs' parents, Ron and Betty Gibbs, express their disapproval of Julia Trubkina's behavior at a bar. Married for 5 years, Julia and Brandon have faced challenges in aligning their future goals, particularly when it comes to starting a family. Their journey on the show was an attempt to seek professional guidance, which ultimately led to them reaffirming their commitment to one another. In recent months, both have experienced personal growth, with Julia launching a new business venture and Brandon prioritizing his fitness journey. However, a sneak peek of the tell-all episode reveals unresolved issues. Brandon's parents take issue with Julia's uninhibited actions at a bar, an incident that has sparked debate among the couple and their loved ones. Julia Trubkina's bar incident sparks controversy. During a night out, Julia was seen getting on all fours and dancing on a tabletop, despite Brandon urging her to stop. The preview, shared by Extra, showcases Ron expressing his discontent with his daughter-in-law's behavior, stating she should reconsider how she acted at the bar. Maybe she owes him an apology. Rob Warren, another participant, agreed, adding, Julia was pushing the limits. In response, Julia questioned, "What are limits?" further highlighting the disconnect between her and Brandon's family regarding appropriate behavior in a marriage. The impact of Julia's behavior on her relationship with Brandon's parents. Brandon's parents want Julia to be more reserved. Julia, originally from Russia, has always embraced an extroverted and lively personality. Her background includes a love for dancing and partying, which continued into her time on 90 Day, The Last Resort. She enjoyed forming new friendships and taking part in group therapy, particularly since she has a smaller social circle in the U.S. While her fun-loving nature was appreciated by some cast members and fans, Brandon and his parents found her behavior unsettling, hoping she would adopt a more composed and reserved demeanor. Ron and Betty's concerns appear to stem from a place of care rather than criticism. They believe that for Julia and Brandon's marriage to thrive, there needs to be a foundation of mutual respect. Julia's choice to dance provocatively in front of cast members and reality TV cameras was seen as disrespectful to Brandon, disregarding his feelings in a public setting. Thus, Ron and Betty hope that Julia will acknowledge how her actions affected her husband and offer an apology so that the couple can move forward without lingering resentment. Analyzing Brandon's parents' perspective on Julia's behavior, marriage requires a shift in mindset. Julia's actions may have been perceived as excessive, but they should also be considered within the context of her circumstances. Having limited social connections in the U.S., she may have simply relished the opportunity to unwind after years of adjusting to a new environment. Additionally, as a former go-go dancer, her energetic dancing style is second nature to her. While she shouldn't be condemned for having a fun night out, it's essential for her to recognize that marriage comes with different expectations than single life. In any committed relationship, understanding each other's boundaries is crucial. While Julia's intent may not have been to upset Brandon, her actions clearly made him uncomfortable. Moving forward, a balance must be struck. Julia should maintain her vibrant personality while also ensuring that her choices align with the expectations of a healthy partnership. Whether or not an apology is warranted is up for debate, but open and honest communication will be key to their continued happiness. The role of cultural differences in Julia's behavior. Another aspect worth considering is the cultural differences that may play a role in how Julia and Brandon's family perceive behavior. In Russia, nightlife and socializing in an animated, free-spirited way are often seen as normal expressions of joy and fun. However, in a more conservative setting, especially under the scrutiny of in-laws, such behavior may be viewed as inappropriate or excessive. Julia may not have realized that her actions would be taken so seriously, as her cultural background may not place the same emphasis on public decorum as Brandon's family does. Cultural adaptation in relationships is challenging, and it requires patience and compromise. Julia may need to consider adjusting some aspects of her behavior to align with the expectations of her marital life in the U.S., while Brandon's parents might also need to be more understanding of her different cultural norms. The key to resolving this ongoing conflict is communication, where both sides express their feelings and work toward mutual understanding. Brandon struggles in balancing his family and his marriage. One of the major themes in Brandon and Julia's relationship is Brandon's struggle to navigate between the expectations of his parents and his loyalty to his wife. Throughout their journey on 90 Day Fiancé and 90 Day, The Last Resort, Brandon has been seen as someone who deeply values his parents' opinions, but also wants to support Julia's individuality. This balancing act has not been easy for him, as his parents have a strong influence on his life and have not hesitated to voice their concerns about Julia's behavior and choices. For their marriage to thrive, Brandon must establish firm boundaries with his parents while ensuring that Julia feels heard and respected. If he continues to allow his parents' opinions to dictate how he interacts with his wife, it could lead to growing resentment between him and Julia. Finding a middle ground where he can maintain a strong relationship with both his wife and his parents will be crucial for long-term success. The importance of setting boundaries in a marriage. Every marriage requires clear boundaries, particularly when external influences, such as in-laws, begin to impact the relationship. Julia and Brandon need to set guidelines that respect their partnership while also acknowledging their extended family's role. Julia's actions at the bar, while lighthearted, were clearly an issue for Brandon and his parents. If this type of conflict continues, it could create a wedge in their relationship. Julia and Brandon may benefit from having an open discussion about their expectations in social settings. If Julia enjoys dancing and going out, perhaps they can come to a compromise where she can express herself freely while also being mindful of what makes Brandon comfortable. Conversely, Brandon's parents should understand that Julia has a dynamic personality that cannot be completely altered. Looking toward the future, can Julia and Brandon overcome their differences? As 90 Day, The Last Resort Season 2 comes to a close, all eyes will be on Julia and Brandon to see how they navigate this hurdle in their relationship. Will Julia apologize to Brandon and his parents to mend the situation, or will she stand firm in her belief that she did nothing wrong? More importantly, will Brandon be able to find the right balance between his love for Julia and his loyalty to his parents? Regardless of how the tell-all unfolds, the situation highlights an important lesson for couples. Respect, communication, and compromise are necessary for a healthy marriage. Julia and Brandon have already demonstrated resilience in their relationship, and with the right approach, they can overcome this obstacle and continue to grow together. Fans of the show will eagerly await the tell-all episode, where Julia, Brandon, and his parents will finally address their lingering issues. Whether it results in reconciliation or further drama, one thing is certain: this season of 90 Day, The Last Resort has kept viewers engaged from start to finish.